Welcome everyone to ModGolf Live. Happy Monday to you. I am your host, Colin Weston, and today I am excited because I am here in cold, rainy Vancouver, and next week I'm going to be in Las Vegas attending the Vegas Baby Pro-Am Invitational, which I didn't even know about until a couple months ago, until a good friend of mine, we're going to introduce here today, invited me. But we're having the organizer of that tournament and the founder of that also, and that is Scott Kolb. And I'm going to bring Scott on in just a minute here. Kind of excited for that. But before we do, very fortunate to have my friend who is heading up this organization, and they are the presenting sponsor today, the partner for ModGolf Live. So I thank them for that. And that is AM Golf. And if you're not familiar with AM Golf, they are one-stop, all-inclusive app that golf courses, recreational players, and golf businesses around the world use to manage every aspect of their personal and professional lives. I downloaded the app, and yeah, myself with my local club here in Vancouver, they have that on there. So engaging with community there, and you can do that anywhere in the world. And I also noticed if you're into indoor simulator golf, you can do that there. And whether you want to get in leagues or tournaments and just meet some people, they have you covered there also. So hey, I strongly encourage you to go to the App Store or Google Play and download their app, or you can go online also with www.app.am.golf to find out more. All right, so that's our friends with AM Golf. So thank you again to them for being the presenting partner here today. And as we get started here, I see we got already 5 people that are joining us already. So one thing we want to do, well, first of all, I want to say welcome to everybody here. And what we do, I've already put in comments here because we are live on YouTube here. So I put in happy Monday, everyone. Yeah, I'm Colin. I'm in Vancouver, as I mentioned. So, hey, please introduce yourself and let you know where you're joining us from. And as we go here with Scott, we want this to be an Ask Him Anything experience as far as golf events, what they're doing with Vegas Baby Pro-Am Invitational, and some other events we're going to talk about that they've got a spring shootout also, which is really interesting. So we're going to talk to Scott about all that good stuff there. But before we bring him on, one more thing, and we do this every single Monday when we're on ModGolf Live. I know it's not morning. Usually we do this a little bit earlier, but I'm still going to call it my Monday morning musings, because Monday afternoon musings, it doesn't roll off the tongue quite as well as the Monday morning musings. So I'm going to talk about one thing here today, and this has been building. I touched on this a little bit last week when we had a ModGolf Live here. I don't think I really articulated it all that well with some of the graphics that we had, and this is about the growth of viewership in golf and attracting new new fans and new audiences. And that is what's going on with the Internet Invitational. It's this collaboration between Barstool Sports and Foreplay Golf and Bob Does Sports. And I just had some numbers here. We're already looking. They just released this morning their 5th episode of this. I'm assuming there's going to be 6 or 7 of these. They roll these out every 3 or 4 days. And I just did the math here, did a little bit of research. And so far, I'm sure it's growing ever, since I did this screenshot a couple hours ago here with the one released today. But so far, 15.7 views so far. And it's very interesting what they're doing here, not only with the views, but also with these collaborations with some sponsors, whether it's Dunkin' Donuts, what they're doing with Microsoft Copilot and some others, really interesting stuff there. So just the growth of that. So I'd love to hear in chat, in the comments, what do you think about these type of YouTube golf experiences and this content being created here, especially with the Internet Invitational? Would you watch it? Do you? Are you a purist, a traditional golf fan watching the PGA Tour? Yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. And it's interesting here. I just did a quick comparison here with where the PGA Tour was last year. As far as I just got asked, I put it out there. It's like, where are they as comparison? So you can see the average tournament that they have all year round. So this is a television audience. You're looking at 1 to 2 million viewers for the Thursday, Friday. So kind of that hardcore fan. And I'll be honest, I love golf, but I don't watch a lot of Thursday, Friday golf. And then the Saturday, you can see ramps up there to 2.5 to 4.5. The interesting thing, of course, with the big hit, of course, with one of the majors there, especially on the Sunday, if there's some drama and there is some contention going on there. But it's really interesting to see that that YouTube golf, what they're doing here with the Internet Invitational, is almost on par. You can think cumulatively with an average PGA golf event. So I find this quite fascinating. I'm not going to say which one I like more. Well, like I said, I don't watch a lot of PGA Tour golf. Actually, I love watching the majors and the players. Will always watch that. But love to hear your thoughts on that. And yeah, we got quite a few people joining us already. We've got some comments here. Oh, we got our friend Kevin Carpenter, aka the Gratitude. Here we go, Kevin. Good. Thanks for joining us, buddy. Here saying, yeah, this is the tipping point moment. Streaming and non-traditional golf is starting to eclipse traditional broadcasts. There you go. There's Kevin's 2 cents worth there. That YouTube golf. And there we go. Oh, and he's obviously more diligent with some of the numbers there. Yeah, those are great numbers because that was dramatic with Rory, of course. But love to hear what your thoughts are too. So there you go. Follow Kevin's lead. Don't be shy. Jump on in here. And now it's time for the main event, and that is bringing Scott onto the stage here. And there he is. Scott, thanks for joining us on ModGolf Live today.
Hey, Colin, thanks very much for having me. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. My pleasure. So actually, Kevin Carpenter was the one that introduced the two of us here and made this happen, that I'll be going down to Vegas for the Vegas Baby Pro-Am Invitational. That's a 3-day event. I'm going down there for 4 or 5 days in Las Vegas. And I had never heard of this before. And I'm all about golf entertainment, fun, technology, innovation, and the fact I feel I'm kind of embarrassed at the fact I didn't even know you've been doing this. And it's not like this is your first time doing this, is it? Not now?
My first rodeo. No.
So as we get going here, why don't we start with this question here? Let me just pull this up here. As you know, I'm the executive producer while I'm talking away, so sometimes I get a little mixed up. But there we go. So tell us about the origin story. I believe next year is a milestone as far as an anniversary with it. So tell us when it started, how it started, and why it started with the Vegas Baby Pro-Am Invitational.
Yeah, I mean, 25 years ago, I was an assistant at that time in Kelowna area. So I'm based in Victoria now, but 25 years ago, I was in Kelowna. And up until that point, as an assistant golf professional, I was known for running fairly decent pro-ams. My friend Colin McCulley and I used to run what was called VIAC, and throughout the province of BC, we were known for that. Now I was in Gallagher's. It was a seasonal operation, and I went down to Vegas with a few of our members at Gallagher's, and I thought, how do I put these two together? That A, I love to go to Vegas, and B, I'm known for pro-ams. Why not just start a business that has people going down to Vegas every year? And that first year we had 54 players, and then next year 95, and then every year it seemed to grow up until we got through the COVID area. But at one point we got up to 635 players. This year we're down to about 400, but I think there's some other mitigating facts of why some Canadians aren't going down there. I won't get into that. That's a different topic. But
Right.
In general, we usually have more 500 to 600 people that go down there every year, and hopefully next year, being our 25th year, we'll get back to those numbers as well.
Wow. Well, even at 400, like when I received the spreadsheet for everyone being there, I thought it was going to be 144 people. I figured it's going to be a shotgun. It's on one course. And then you just do the math at two foursomes teeing off on one tee. But then I'm scrolling down and the spreadsheet keeps going and going and going. And I did the math, and there's even this year, like I said, there's like about 450 people participating. Not your all-time high, but I'm like, wow. It's like, how, let me put it this way. It's like, how did you manage that? I guess that's kind of building up with your experience over years. But here, let me ask this question. I want to hear about what the event's going to be like. So the vibe for the Vegas Baby Pro-Am Invitational, and what do you consider your secret sauce behind this atmosphere, and why golfers keep coming back? Because I understand you've got a lot of people that they're foursomes. They come back every single year with their teams, and they just keep doubling down, and they love it. So hey, if you can answer those two questions that I packed into one there.
There's some that have come 20 plus years. I can think of Barry Wallace out in Eastern Canada, my friend Colin, and you're right. You know what I think it is that it's a travel pro-am. It's big, but it also feels like a small event in itself. I always try to do my best. If there's multiple teams from one club, I'll put them back to back every day. Vegas itself is kind of a great city in the sense that we get up and in the mornings, it's quite fun watching people get on the buses. You can think we've got 15 buses all going to different locations all through the morning and getting them out there first thing in the morning. Sometimes people are a little foggy, but it's just that fun atmosphere. We play the event, and if somebody asked me who won last year, I wouldn't know. I have to look something up, and because that's not why we're down there. We're down there to have fun. We hop on the bus, we go play, have a little breakfast, play golf. We all come back, everybody's in a great mood, and then it's, for the most part, you have your free nights, and there's lots of things to do in Vegas. We do an opening party at the start and a closing party at the end, but you're not stuck in a ballroom. There's no formal dinners. We pour most of the money into the golf, and I think if there's a secret sauce, because we've got such a big number, it doesn't seem like you're gouging. 1679 US to go play in a pro-am when you compare it to some of the other pro-ams of comparable events. And Vegas is not a cheap city to run a golf tournament, and I can tell you,
Right.
golf is expensive, hotels expensive, and so is the hotel food and beverage. But because there's so many of us, it becomes quantity of size helps us bring it down and makes it affordable for everybody.
Well, I was quite surprised at how reasonable the cost was, considering also that I know this is I think the third or fourth year you've had to deal with this, but you're bumping right up against the Las Vegas Grand Prix, which starts actually the day right after we all leave when we're all checking out. So that's got to be an extra layer of opportunity and complexity for you.
Yeah, we moved everything a week forward because last year we actually had a tournament round on race day.
Oh, did you?
And I'll tell you, even though they said that they were closing the strip down at 4, they closed it down at 2, and it was interesting getting buses back and forth in and out of Caesars last year.
I bet I bet it was. So why don't you walk us through this? Well, use me as your persona, your avatar, whatever you want to call it. So I'm part of a team. I still haven't quite figured out exactly what I'm going to be doing. I know I'm part of a team. Me and my 16.4 handicap is not the pro part of the pro-am. I'm definitely in the little a-am part of this. But I think we have a team of 4 or 5. So why don't you walk us through the journey so people that are watching here, they can now they'll be ready to go for next year or even what's going on with the shootout in the springtime. So walk me through what I'm going to experience here over those 4 days in Las Vegas.
Yeah, and that's one of the things too. I guess you talk about secret sauce. The other thing too, once you arrive and get your clubs on that first day bus, then you never have to touch your clubs again until you go back. And we realized that one year when we were at the Mirage and the bus pickup, and where the if anybody's been to the Mirage, the elevators are at the back of the building, and it was watching 400 people lug their clubs back was quite painful. So now we take your clubs to the next day's course and everything else. But so when you arrive, if you arrive early, then we'll tend to have little things in our hotel room where you can pick up your tee gifts. But we have a big party on the Sunday. We're going to have a little bucket golf competition and have some fun there on that night. But you pick up your tee gifts. You get, every year it gets, after 24 years, it gets a little challenging to come up with new ideas, but you get a little tee gift. And then the next morning, your bag tag's on there, you're set. You go hop on a bus before 8:30 every day. And again, that's part of the fun of watching everybody get on that bus. You'll get to see that firsthand, and then you go play golf. So when you show up, you're gonna go have a quick breakfast, hit a couple of balls. We have music usually at most of the staging areas, and get to know each other. By the third day, because you're playing with the same people and we try to pair you up pretty close, you start to get to know your surroundings pretty quick. Even though there's going to be some people from Kansas City, there's going to be some people from Carolina, Toronto, Vancouver, Seattle, they're all over. But by the end of it, you get some pretty good relationships. And we only pay half the field, or we pay half the field, so to make sure nobody takes it too seriously. You're not playing for a lot of money. So if you play well, sure, you're going to get $100 and enjoy the day. But it's not about the money. It's all about the fun. We pour the money into the great golf courses. We're going to play Cascada, Dragon Ridge, Circuit, and some other fantastic golf courses.
Wow. Okay, so I'm assuming this is a shotgun start every single day for the groups? It
is. You play your own ball. I hate scrambles. They are fun once a year kind of thing, but playing scrambles as a golf pro, you're swinging for the fences and hitting putts too hard. So maybe that's my own personal opinion. Scrambles can be fun, and be fun once a year. But I personally enjoy playing golf and going through. And what we do to make it interesting, you're playing 3 rounds and you're playing in 5 balls. Every day has a different twist.
Hmm.
So on one day, it's best 2 nets, again, keeping it low key so that that 16 handicap that you are doesn't feel like you're having pressure to make par on every hole. You only have to count 2 scores out of the 5 on every hole, except for 9 and 18, where we count all of them.
Okay.
And then on one day on the par 3s and 5s, we count 3 scores and 2 on the par 4s. And then the final one, which, do a little shout out to AM Golf there, is we've got something that's called the wild card format. And I've always been known for maybe being a little bit creative with tee sheets and formats and everything else. So on that one, it's 2 scores on every hole, but you on one hole in the front and one hole in the back. So for example, the 6th hole and the 15th hole, your score is going to count too. And no software provider before AM Golf was able to figure out how to do that. So we always had to do manual figuring it out later on. And Adrian, who works somewhere in a European country in some small room, I'm assuming, that knows how to do all this stuff, within 10 minutes had it figured out of how to do it. And amazing. He's been great to work with. And like I say, I mean, there's always been some great scoring apps, but when you get somebody that actually understands it, sometimes you get a techie person that doesn't know golf, but he gets it. And that's been a real help for me to be able to feel comfortable, because we were always an Excel kind of document kind of system before, because nobody could figure out how to do this one format scoring. So it was too much work for its worth.
Your Excel spreadsheet was one step beyond writing down on the back of a napkin there the first year or two, I'm sure.
Oh, I had my friend Winston create a program that I still use today, but there's lots of moving parts, and I swear every year I'm going to override it and screw it all up. But
there we go. Well, especially if you got between 400 and 600 golfers, there's a lot of balls in the air and plates spinning. So I'm sure you're glad that
you can
AM
imagine if you had to enter in 625 scores manually every day, that wouldn't be a lot of fun. So
good boy. No, that does not sound fun. Hey, I've noticed, we got quite a few people that have joined us here. So a couple things I want to say is, hey, if you like what we're doing here, the conversation we're having with Scott and everyone else we have on both ModGolf Live and on the ModGolf YouTube channel, hey, show us a little bit of love. Why don't you like and subscribe to the channel here? Because that the bigger we grow, the more I have the capacity for having great conversations with awesome people like Scott. And the other thing I'm going to mention too, again, now that we've got more people on, like I said at the top of the show, this is live and interactive right now for where we're going to be on for another 15 minutes or so. Don't be shy. Why don't you put a question in the chat here? I will pull it up. I will ask it to Scott, and away we go. Although, I'm a question asker. I've done it for 8 years as the podcast host, so I can keep going here all day long. But hey, we want to make this interactive, like I said, and get all of you involved. Okay, why don't we do this, Scott? I am going to add to our stage your website. Of course, you got a Canadian and a U.S. Version of the website here, but we pulled up the U.S. one. So why don't you walk us through that? I will be your navigator. You tell me to click on something, and I will, and we'll just go through it.
Yeah, definitely. The homepage there lists the 2 events that we're hosting this year, or this year and next year to start. There will be a fall event for next year that we'll announce the second this one's over. But this just has the basics of the dates.
All right. Well, why don't I click on the event itself? Here we go. So this is what's happening starting on Monday. Well, really on Sunday with the pre-tournament. So there we go.
In November, although we're looking forward to some nice 20 or 70-degree days next week. But again, we keep it simple of what we offer. Everything, taxes are all included. There's no hidden fees. The only thing that we soak you for when you arrive in Vegas is we do a deuce pot. So if you make a 2, then you get paid. That's the only thing that our hands are out. But there's nothing else through the whole week, which I know is odd in Vegas, that there's not hidden fees and everything else, because that's what. With the exception of the resort fee, I can't get away from that. The hotels charge that, not me.
Yeah,
but everything else is included. Your 4 nights, unless you're going to come ahead of time, are all included. The golf's all included. The buses, breakfast before golf, the 2 social events, everything's all in. Which is kind of nice. That that's the one thing I hear the most from people is, it was so easy, and especially for the pros that are bringing amps, like you basically do everything for us, and that's because we've run pro amps for all of our lives, and we know the little things that make a difference, like taking your clubs to the next day's course. That was a huge change. It doesn't sound like a lot, but those hotels in Vegas are big.
Yeah,
Lugging your
no,
bag,
I've
no
spent
fun.
some time in Vegas. Yes,
Sorry,
they're like little.
I went off topic, but here's the agenda. It lists everything off. Now that we've got the AM Golf app, it's kind of nice because it gives you a little more detail. You don't want to have too much detail, obviously, in a website, but every little thing on the AM Golf app's got the moment to moment kind of thing. But this gives you a good outline. Has lots of contact. If you're going through here, there's links to show you what the spring shootout, what courses we're going to play, hotel and social, or just simple links to make sure that we've got your hotel room booked, and which hotel are we staying at. And again, the website in general is just meant to be a basic start, and so that everybody can even the type A's can know what's going to happen as we go forward. So
Right. Well, before we jump over to the spring shootout, just in the lower left corner here on the carousel, see, they're all part of a team, and they're dressing up. And I understand you've got a nice partnership with Rolo Golf, I believe, and they're your apparel provider, your partnership there. So I believe you could. I'm probably too late now because it's only a couple days away, but it seems like everybody can be part of a team there, so they all represent. Is it mostly that?
I'm sure Ryan can go to the warehouse and pull it off. So a great Saskatchewan company, a nice guy that's been involved with us for at least 3 or 4 years. He's got a co-partner this year called Buzz Golf Carts, which is kind of like a alternative to the big three, and they're fantastic carts. Hopefully they'll be down there in Vegas. That's the plan, to have them down there so people can touch and feel them. So those are our co-sponsors this year. But yeah, no, Ryan's put almost all of those uniforms in together. He even made that shirt that's popping up right there is a custom Vegas Baby shirt, and I'll see if I can find one for you, Colin, so you can have one. But it has some cool little neon things to it. But all of these shirts, the one I was wearing there had a tequila and lime on it, but nice and subtle.
Love it.
Neat little, and you can see these are, even at the bus stops, people are having fun, right? Like that's the whole point of this
Absolutely.
tournament. Nobody cares what you shot. To be honest, and even for pros, we have max bogey rule, right? Like nobody wants their pro grinding for a double bogey when the team's already made 2 net birdies, right? So everything's meant to be fun and really low key. And again, we try to make sure we have everything. The second you finish golf, the bus is waiting for you. You head back to the strip. So.
Well, this type of golf is right in my wheelhouse because, yes, as a 16 handicapper, the reason I am, there's always at least 1 or 2 sevens on my scorecard, sometimes an 8 that seems to mess everything up. So there's not worrying about a result in this case here as much
and
as
we use Stableford points. So worst case scenario, you get 0 points. Not a big deal.
There we go.
We
go. Okay, so yeah, this isn't the only event that you do. You do a spring event here also. So let's have a look at that. So tell us about the spring shootout that you guys have been doing and how long have you been doing the spring shootout for? And tell us about this event.
This will be our second one of them. So we just had some people saying, we'd love to have a kickstart to the year, because we're out in Vancouver and Victoria, but even that, golf is not prime conditions till you get into the April or May timeframe. And so This is a great kickstart for everybody else in North America to have some little bit of sun and some heat. Everything else is very similar. Same buses, same pre-meal, all those things. But we play, and this is going to be at Planet Hollywood. The fall event is going to be at Paris, and that's important to some people where they stay as part of the equation. But we're going to play Paiute, which is, I think, pure golf, right? Like they have 3 golf courses out there. It's in the middle of the desert. You wouldn't want to go off the golf course because you'd never be seen again. But it is, 3 Pete Dye courses that are amazing. Reflection Bay, I've never always loved Nicholas designs. That some of them are fantastic, but Reflection Bay is pretty and a great layout.
Nice.
Anybody that loves Jack, I'm sorry if I offended them, but in general, I love it. And then Spanish Trail is kind of a neat private club that as normal golfers couldn't get on, right? So we try to have something like that at each one where they're going to play something that probably couldn't have gone on to. The group in the fall event that aren't playing Cascada, because 2 out of the 3 are playing Cascada, well, they're getting to play Dragon Ridge. There's a prime private golf club that most people haven't heard, but trust me, they'll tell people when they come back from Dragon Ridge. So
nice. Okay, well, I got to bring this full circle to what I was talking about at the top of the show, and that was with the this content creation here, of course, with the Internet Invitational, and we have YouTube Golf just taking off the last few years. So I'm curious with what you're creating. Is there any desire to create any content around this? It seems like it's so much fun that it seems like it's a perfect platform to create some content around. Is that something you're contemplating in the future, or does that not make a lot of sense with your business model for this?
I'm a dinosaur when it comes to this, but numbers don't lie, right? Like, I've had a chance to meet Mac Boucher and Sarah Winter recently. They came out to the PGA of Canada RBC Scramble,
Right.
and it's undeniable of the amount of attention they get. And I think you and I were talking beforehand. I don't know much about it, but anything that brings more people to golf and gets them more excited about golf, how could you be wrong about that? So I had last year, I had Chelsea, my friend Chelsea Sweet came down and she did some video versions and we were able to push things out. But yeah, I think, you'd be foolish not to look at these types of options. When somebody asked me 5 years ago, well, hey, I've got, followers and I want to play golf and I want you to pay me to do this. I thought, well, I'm never going to do that. But I think my mind has probably been altered a little bit to that. I mean, even the pro you're going to get to play with, I can't wait to hear what you say about your golf pro, world long drive champion, who's also doing her own little thing on content. And Phyllis is going to outdrive you by 100 yards every day. It's going to be pretty humbling.
If not more.
You're going to ask to go play the one-up tees just so you don't feel your ego getting too bruised.
It's all good. I'm used to it. It's fine. Whatever. But on that note, though, and I've already been in discussion with Phyllis, and the other folks that are playing in our group, is probably unbeknownst to you, but we're going to create a little bit of content. So we're going to
Awesome.
We're going to do that. And of course, we're not Barstool Sports or Bob Does Sports, so you're not going to get the millions and millions of views, but we're going to have some fun and we're going to create some content out there. So perhaps we can use that as a bit of an experiment and a test to see what you can do in 2026 and beyond.
It's a good point, right? Like we did our own thing last year with our own internal stuff and having some of these others and that, I think whenever people have doubts, like I've had doubts in this, data doesn't lie, right? Like, and that's, if you can say, well, you only had 2,000 views last year and all of a sudden that jumps to, 30 or 50,000, you can't lie about that. And then now it's trying to equate what that means and what kind of ROI you're going to get down long term. But in the end, data is what people want to see and businesses want to see. It's no different than social media 10 years ago. Prove to me why it's going to be worthwhile for me to invest in social media, right? So.
Yeah. And once again, when I was talking at the top of the show there with the Internet Invitational, they've been very clever there as far as how they've integrated the brands into the storylines. I don't know if you've seen it, but even Dunkin' Donuts, they've set up this little drive-through with the golf carts. And you may look at that, it's a little bit contrived, but they've actually embedded that into the experience rather than just a logo slapped on the side of something. So these are the type of collaborations now that, especially what's going on with these numbers of, like I said, 15 million and climbing. I'm sure there's lots of companies out there not in the golf space that are all of a sudden going, yeah, the numbers don't lie, just as you touched on there, and it's only going to keep growing. Okay, hey, we got our good friend Kevin jumping in again here as we finish up here. Sounds like Kevin's ready and ramped up to go to the spring event too. As he said, great time. He said coincides with March Madness basketball. There we go. So I don't know if you planned that on purpose.
It's funny you say that, but when I talk to the hotels, that's what we have to work around, right? And the funny thing is that it's actually the first weekend of that tournament that Vegas goes crazy because their teams are all still in it. And then as they get down to the final 8 and everything else, sure, there's some excitement during March Madness, the final bit. But the reality is Vegas actually gets crazy busy in that first weekend and that second weekend because they feel like their teams are still in it.
Yeah, love that. Well, hey, as we finish up here, I've got to go because apparently I need a haircut. So I've got to go do that now because I don't want to show up in Vegas with this going on. I got to clean it up a little bit here. And I know you've got lots to do. And speaking of that, you do have, this isn't the only ball you've got spinning in the air. As you put there, you are the president of the PGA of Canada, representing all the professionals across the country in our 10 fine provinces here. Why don't I'm going to pull up one more thing here. Just bear with me for a second here. Once again, trying to be the executive producer at the same time as I'm yapping away here. Okay, I'm going to share the screen.
And definitely building the miles up while you're finding it. I mean, I was in Langley, Dallas, heading to Vegas, back to Toronto for some more meetings, finish in Cancun. It's going to be a crazy 6-week stretch, but
Yeah.
I see you've got up, and this is the day job I've got.
Yeah. So why don't you quickly tell us about this as we finish up here, Scott?
Sure. So, when I left Victoria Golf Club just under 4 years ago now, I thought there was a niche in the industry that at that stage it was called fresh golf. That the golf industry didn't have a lot of recruiting agencies in the country. And so at that point, it was just myself. I was a solo mission. But since then, we've added a couple of great gentlemen in Toronto area and Carmen out in the West here. And we've changed the focus to be all clubs, not just golf. Done a lot of city clubs, and Carmen comes with the yacht industry. So again, just to offer alternative when it comes to recruiting for GMs, clubhouse managers, controllers, golf pros, and superintendents, and just offer that option to help do executive searches for those clubs. And when this day and age now, things being done mostly electronically, for the most part, we do most of our work online as we go through, and been able to find, I think we're at 40 plus great position leads over the last couple of years growing. So
Nice. Good stuff.
eventually we'll head south of the border, but we want to walk before we run, but got 4 of us now working hard on growing this business for sure.
Nice. Well, you are a very busy man. Will I even have a chance to see you when you're in Las Vegas? It sounds like you got so much going on. Are you going to be standing still at all?
Yeah, I won't look this calm, but yes, I'll be there.
Good stuff.
Chicken with a head cut off. I think that's the version. So
yeah, but you've been doing this for a while, and it sounds like you've got a good team in place now, not only with AM Golf on the digital side, but with others that you've got. It takes more than one to make this happen. It sounds like you got a good team.
It does. We have multiple rotations, so I've got 2 of my friends at each of the golf courses to help run each of the rotations. That's why if you look at it and go, who the hell is Grassy and who are Young? Jamie Young and Craig Young, and we always call them the brothers, even though they're brothers from different mothers. And the Grassy family has always helped me over on the other rotations. So we've had that and Colin McCulley. There's always a great group of us that run this event and have fun. A-Town for years did too. So it's our sort of closing of the year party as well, and we have a good time together each year.
Nice. And are you going to really blow this thing up for your 25th anniversary that's next
plan.
year, 2027? That's next year?
Nope, next year. That's the plan. Wow. We're gonna try to come up with some special things once we nail down the date. We're still working with the hotel on that, and it's revolving around that fun F1 event. So yeah, that makes. I'm sure it's exciting for those 3 days, but it definitely throws wrinkles and other organizers' plans for sure.
I'm sure it does. You've got this. So again, hey, you want to check out what Scott and the team are doing here with vegasbaby.com or vegasbaby.ca if you're Canadian, but you go
vegasbaby.ca, and if you want to look at the American site, they're identical sites right now. We used to have slightly different starting times. That's why we had a different site, but that was golfvegasbaby.com, and the vegasbaby.ca is the Canadian version, but I'm sure if you type in Vegas Baby in Google or whatever model you go in there, you'll find us in there, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you think after playing. We're always open to good feedback and always getting better. We ask our people, and every year there's something a little bit different. So we're playing different golf courses. We go to different hotels. We try to mix it up, make it fun for everybody.
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a good time. So with that, hey Scott, why don't we wrap it up there? I want to ask you this as we finish up. Is there still space available? I know it's only a couple of days away, but if people are watching and is like, hey, you know what? I want to get out of the rain or the cold. I think it was snowing in Ontario and Toronto and Ottawa.
Too bad for them, eh? That's too bad.
So perhaps they need to get on a plane and get to some warmth with some golf. So is there still space, even though it's only 4 or 5 days away?
Room for one single on one, and there'd be room for one more team if we had to fit them in. So Scott at vbgolf.ca, if they want to reach out to me, I'm happy to see if we can find that out. And then March is filling up quickly, but I think we still have 8 teams left for that one. So, and that one's only foursome, so it's a little easier to find. But great. A lot of people aren't thinking about how they're going to start next golf season, but this is the time, and we can hopefully fill that up. Hopefully fill it up by the end of this month.
Love it. Well, already in the description, and I'll put in the comments also the links that Scott's mentioned there to make it nice and easy if you want to check out for the spring shootout or even for next year's Vegas Baby Pro-Am Invitational. And as I mentioned, I'll be creating a bunch of YouTube shorts as I do here and posting those while we're there. Maybe even in real time. You never know. Maybe we'll do a live on the Monday. Maybe we'll do a ModGolf live there. That'll be fun. Hey, I'm kind of thinking. Anyway, we'll worry about that next week.
You'll be at Cascada. The cell reception is terrible, but that golf course is going to be one you're going to remember if you haven't played it before. So,
all right. Well, maybe we'll shoot some. Maybe we'll do a Tuesday or a Wednesday live. We'll figure it out. We'll show you some love. We'll create some content while we're there. We'll have some fun. All right, Scott. I'll let you go. So you got a million things you got to get back to before the big event. So, thanks so much for joining us today on ModGolf Live. This has been so much fun. It's been awesome.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Thanks for your time, and look forward to seeing you in less than a week.
Absolutely.
See you Saturday.
Absolutely. You will. All right. Take care.